Hey, friends, welcome back to the Life of a Makeup Artist podcast. Today, we are joined by Dr. Rose Ingleton, dermatologist with over 2 decades of experience, known for her work in treating diverse skin tones and addressing both common and complex issues. Dr. Rose has not only paved the way as one of the first Black dermatologists in her field, but also has developed her own skincare line, Rose Ingleton MD, and we will talk about that. Now, your line is designed to cater to various skin concerns with a special focus on melanin rich skin. And we know we need that. Now, your candid and insightful social media presence shares everything from skincare myths to essential skin facts, making you a trusted voice in the beauty industry.
Oh my God.
Welcome, Dr. Rose.
Thank you for having me. Wow, listen to that.
Listen, you know what? Okay, so I'd say this all the time on my podcast, or like just in general. Like anytime I try a product or I recommend anything, is because I've used it extensively. And I have actually been a patient of Dr. Rose. So it is an honor to actually have her here today. How are you? How's life?
Life is busy, but it's good.
I know you're booked, you're busy.
I'm booked, I'm busy because, I'm running the full-time dermatology practice. That is
Right.
my first love, right?
Yeah.
So I'm going to do that. But then the skincare line is a whole nother business that
Right.
I never really realized how big a thing it was and how much
Mm-hmm.
time it would require. So I'm being pulled in a lot of directions, but thank God I'm a very organized person. So I'm able to,
Right.
cater accordingly. I may not be doing it enough, but
Right.
I'm catering accordingly. And then I have my family and,
Yes. You have kids,
friendships.
right?
I have two grown sons. Yeah, they
Oh,
both have
nice.
finished college now.
Oh wow, so you're empty nester, you
Empty
know, yeah.
nester. But it's funny. They are just starting their lives in the world,
hmm
and it's very challenging for young people who are just getting out of college, no matter how big your degree is,
Right,
how well you performed in college.
right.
It is so challenging. And
Yeah,
I've made so many introductions, but
right,
they're still like, can't find any jobs.
right. Wow.
Now they've both found something, but
Right. Wow.
it's not like you would expect or how it was. Like when
Yeah, adulting is not the same.
it's not.
Mm-mm.
Poor things. I feel bad for them.
Yeah, and now you have a whole new role. You're a social media star.
There you go.
So how are you
It's
managing all of that?
By the way, it's really interesting. I am still surprised when I travel around the world or
Mm-hmm.
travel to different cities in the US, walking around minding my own business, and somebody will come over. Aren't you Dr. Ingleton, that dermatologist that I see on TikTok? I'm like,
Now, speaking of that, many have come across you because of your viral series on what you would and wouldn't do as a Black dermatologist. Now, what inspired you to start sharing these tips on social media?
you know, I am I noticed that there were just so many misconceptions
Mm-hmm.
and misinformation being touted on the internet. And the people who showed up as the experts
Mm-hmm.
were not truly experts. There were people who may have tried a product, may
Right.
have read a book, may have just learned how to do skincare and makeup for themselves.
Right.
And they decided that they're now experts and they get
Right.
out there. And if you're convincing enough and you have a big enough following,
Right.
people will listen to you.
Right.
I was tired of it. And, I'm seeing it in the practice in all the 20 plus years I've been practicing. People come in and they have all of these crazy ideas. And I ask them where they get it from. And they're like, oh, I saw it on Instagram or I saw it on TikTok. So I started this forum because I thought, it's time that they get an actual expert
Right.
who is highly trained in
Right.
dermatology and also highly experienced
Right.
to teach them the facts, break it down in a way
Right.
that people can really understand.
Right.
I'm lucky in that that's one of my strong traits is that
Right.
I'm very relatable. People tell me all the time.
Right.
And I meet people where they are. I try to explain things in a way that they will never leave my office saying, I don't know what she just said.
Right.
She just gave me all these prescriptions and sent me on my way. You'll never hear that.
What I loved most, I mean, the pandemic was not fun,
Mhm.
but I think coming out of it, I think that's what I love the most because you started to see more professionals
Mhm.
become the influencers and a lot of people cared more about their skin. But like you said, there's so many different things, there's so many trends and so many things, and you overwhelm yourself, and not everything is for everybody.
You know what happened during the pandemic was people were overdoing things.
Yeah.
A whole lot of damage was done. Over exfoliating, using products that were really not meant for them, but they looked good on TikTok,
Right.
on social.
Right.
And we had to do a lot of fixing once we all reopened our offices and went back in.
Right.
People were coming in with things that they self inflicted.
I'm sure you saw a lot of damage barriers.
So much damage barriers because they were overdoing everything.
Right.
Just
Wow.
dried skin, burnt skin, discolored skin, choosing the wrong product, suddenly having acne when they never had acne before. The hair stuff, oh, don't get me
Oh, we gotta talk
started.
about we can talk about the hair. So you were the first Black person to complete your dermatology residency program. Can you tell us more about the unique challenges you faced and how that shaped your career?
Uh, First of all, I did not know anything about dermatology
Mm-hmm.
before I graduated medical school. I'd never been exposed to it until I
Mm-hmm.
was just about to graduate, and I did a rotation and the lights literally came on and I knew I loved it. But this field is one that was
Mm-hmm.
very elitist
Right.
and very difficult to get positions in. So to be even allowed in the door was challenging. I had to do a lot of behind the scenes work, research and kissing up to all the right people and just presenting yourself over and over and hearing no and no and no and no.
Mm-hmm.
So to even get a spot, I felt so blessed.
Wow.
Now, I didn't have any examples to go by.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know any Black dermatologists. I didn't know anybody who was a dermatologist. So not having role models or a path that you can say, you know what, I can do that because that
Right.
person did that.
Mm-hmm.
That made it extra difficult for me. And when you're in the training programs, the programs themselves are difficult anyway. And if you don't have support or people that you can check in and say, how did you do this?
Mm-hmm.
This is really hard.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have any of that. So that I would say was the major challenge. And even when I graduated, I thought I was going to be hot stuff. I thought everybody would want to hire me because I was so unique.
Right.
Couldn't find a job.
Wow.
And that's actually why I started my own practice so early because I took a job just to
Uh-huh.
have it.
Right.
It wasn't the kind of job I wanted. And I only lasted in that type of scenario for about like a year and a half. And I started my own practice. I didn't know what I was doing, but
It's like I gotta go.
yeah,
Which is so interesting because I'm sure when you were in school, a lot of the studies are not done on skin
skin
of
of
color.
color.
And even sometimes when you're looking at makeup or skincare
Uh-huh.
online and you're looking through like, oh, this was tested on, and it's just like, yeah, but who did you test that
Exactly.
on? And they don't necessarily always, reveal that information. But I'm sure that was like a barrier for you
It
too.
was a barrier. What I found was in the training program, we were taking care of a lot of people with melanin rich skin because we worked in clinics
Mm-hmm.
and we worked in communities. We were in the South Bronx, we were in
Mm-hmm.
Harlem,
Mm-hmm.
the hospitals that I rotated through. So I saw a lot of stuff that related to our skin type, but there was no specific training around how you take care of the issues that people with skin of color and curly hair
You're right.
deal with. It was taught to us to treat them exactly the same way we treat white people with straight hair
Right.
or anyone who had straight hair. So I learned on my own
Mm-hmm.
because back then it wasn't being taught at all. So trial and error, trying it on myself. I was the tester.
Crazy.
Things I would not do for my own hair, I don't recommend it for other people who look like me. So I just figured it out. It's not like that anymore, right? So we have many more dermatologists
Right.
who are trained and taking care of skin of color now. So
There's many more, but there's still not enough. I feel
not
there's still
enough.
not enough.
It's only 3%, right?
Yeah, it's only
3% of
3%. I think
all
there was something that happened the other day where they didn't want to. I mean, I'll pause, but there didn't something happen the other day when they didn't want to. I forgot what it
it
was.
had to do with DEI.
Yes, they
Yes.
wanted to do away with it. What was
Yes.
it again? Because there's another girl, Crow Robinson. She's a dermatologist. She doesn't live in New
The
York,
one in
but
Chicago?
yes,
Yeah.
she was posting a lot about it. What
Yeah.
what
It
were they
was a
doing?
big problem because they wanted them to do away with looking at skin color. It's the same stuff that's going on in general public.
Right.
They wanted the AAD to just do away with any consideration of diversity. They're like, that's not fair because now you're specifically looking at people who are not white and trying to include them in this.
We already have like 5 dermatologists, and now you're like, no, that's
No,
too
it's too
much.
many. Yeah.
That's actually crazy.
It got shot down though. It was
Yeah,
all
thankfully, yeah, I
garbage.
remember. Because yeah,
Insane. But it's been so gratifying for me when I go to the national meetings.
right,
So many black derms. Oh my God, and the medical students
right,
who want to become dermatologists and the residents who are
right.
training currently. I'm like, wow,
Yeah,
so different. Much better than being all alone
yeah.
and not having anyone
That's
to
amazing.
talk to.
That's
Yeah.
amazing. So, hyperpigmentation is a major concern for many people with melanated skin. What are some of the causes and treatments that you usually recommend?
Yeah, I would say that hyperpigmentation is probably the number one thing I treat people with melanin rich skin for.
Hmm.
Acne would be the second.
Wow.
The most common causes that I'm seeing are related to post inflammatory hyperpigmentation,
Hmm.
which is a big fancy way of saying dark marks that are left behind after something has happened, whether it
Right.
be bad acne or your eczema was acting up or you scratch yourself, you scrub yourself too
Hmm.
much, it left some marks.
Hmm.
That's post inflammatory hyperpigmentation. Then there's melasma, which
Oh,
is
yes.
very common
Hmm.
in people who are like middle complexion to sort of dark, but not super dark skin. So those middle tones, they
Hmm.
tend to struggle with this hyperpigmentation that is very classically above the lips,
Hmm.
on the chin, and in the center of the face, like in here.
Hmm.
And it's related to hormones, it's related to genetics, it's related to too much sunshine exposure that without being protected
Right.
properly. And it's really tough to treat. So that's number two. And number three, I'm noticing a lot of people getting this condition called maturational hyperpigmentation. That's the
What?
medical name for it.
What is that?
You know many people who have this. You look at any, not any, but
I think my dad has that.
many people who are in their 40s and 50s,
Mhm.
they start to get this darkness on the peripheries, all on the outer part of the face
Right.
and around the mouth. So in here is natural
Oh.
color for them,
But
but
is
then
it
it's,
possible for it to just be on one side?
yes, it
Because my
can be.
dad has that.
Oh yeah. But
So
it tends, what's important about it is that it's back here
yeah, it is.
and it's around the peripheries of the face.
So what do you do?
It's related to getting older, and not having been practicing the protection from the
Right.
sun and the
And
good skin
living in the
stuff.
Caribbean.
Exactly. So yes, very common there. I treat, hyperpigmentation is, it depends on what the source of it
Hmm.
is.
Hmm.
I will classically create a regimen that includes things that reverse the hyperpigmentation
Hmm.
and also focusing on preventing it from coming in the first place.
Right.
There's always some level of exfoliation in the treatment regimen and wearing sun protection. Did
Hmm.
I say that already?
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's like super important.
So if you see something like that popping up, what like maybe you're in your 30s or 40s, um, is it only a it's is it only because of um maturity, or could it be indicative of something else going on internally?
Right. So it's difficult, I think, sometimes for the layman to look at it and know exactly what category they fall into.
Right.
You might need a dermatologist because there are other hyperpigmentation conditions
Right.
that show up on the face that are
Right.
related to having diabetes or being
Hmm.
pre-diabetic
Right.
or having some other hormone related issue that's not being attended to.
Right.
So getting the proper diagnosis is where you start.
Yeah.
And then you talk about, okay, so now how do I fix it?
Yeah.
Because not everything is going to be fixed with a cream
Yeah.
or a procedure. Sometimes we have to go inside and
Figure
fix
out what's
what's
going
going on that needs to be addressed. And then you can, on top of that, treat the skin.
on. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, your skincare line, Rose Ingleton MD, has been a huge success. I know you've just launched a new product, which we'll talk about. Now, what inspired you to create it and what makes it stand out? Because you've had things sold out at Sephora. She can't keep that in stock, yeah?
I love it. I love it.
Tell us about it. I'm so excited.
I'm so proud of what I've developed. This actually came to fruition because my patients for years
Hmm.
have been like, Dr. Eggleton, why are you always sending me to Sephora to buy this and Walgreens to buy this and stuff? Why can't you just create it yourself? You know
Right.
exactly what we need.
Right.
And I listened to that for a long time, and eventually I penned my ideas of what my perfect skincare regimen.
Hmm.
And I based it on the patients that I've seen. I have a very diverse patient base. It is not just skin of color. And I wanted to replicate a little of the experience that I was giving people in my practice, but on a broader level, because not everybody can come and see me.
Right.
So I tapped into my science background, tapped into my experience with what has worked, because I know the ingredients that work. Then I pulled a little of my Jamaicanism in, and then I created what I think is a beautiful, I have it in the luxury space. It's
Right.
this affordable luxury
Yeah.
because I think we deserve that.
Always.
And I wanted it to be good. It's universal, but tested on melanated skin, which is so sensitive. I wanted to make sure that it wasn't just good generally for everyone, but that specifically people with melanin rich skin could use it and not run into a lot of trouble. And I was addressing the problems that they most commonly were bringing to me,
Yeah.
asking for help with. So I just targeted exactly what I was doing every day in the office, what I was hearing all the time.
Right.
I said, let me target all these issues.
Yeah.
And that's how I created it.
So tell us about your latest launch. Now, I was honored. I was able to, I mean, it was mostly skincare, but I was the artist for your launch photo shoot. And I'm honored that you chose me to be your makeup artist.
Thank you. I love how you do my
Gorgeous.
face.
Oh my gosh. Wait, I need to see those pics. We'll talk about this. But tell us about your new launch.
Yeah, so most recently, so it's now been 3 weeks since we launched,
Mm-hmm.
I launched my vitamin C serum. It's called Future Bright Dark Spot Vitamin C Serum, and it is so beautiful. I've been using it since like December
Mm-hmm.
because I had, I'm very picky. I have to
Right.
make sure it's perfect.
Right.
No reactions on my skin, and I have sensitive skin.
Really?
So, yes, everything bothers me. So, when I find something that doesn't bother me, I'm not changing. I don't care what you come out with. I'm going to stick with what works for me and I'm going to keep going because the product is good.
Right.
Um, so, I've been using it for, 6 months now and super happy.
I mean, the
And
skin looks incredible.
well, I have this thing where I have been very consistent with skincare for years. And I try to preach the same thing to people like simplicity, consistency, and of course, choosing the things that are meant for you,
Right.
not the things that your girlfriend used and the thing that the magazine is saying is the newest, hottest trend.
Right.
Pick things that are specific to your skin concerns. So this vitamin C serum that I created people who come to my practice know I'm always telling people that should be like one of the most important things in your regimen is in addition to sunscreen, right?
Right.
Is to have a antioxidant in your regimen. Vitamin C just happens to be my favorite antioxidant. So I oftentimes will direct people to include that. And it's good for everybody
Is that something you would use every day?
every day. I think of my vitamin C serum as like my armor.
Mm-hmm.
It's the antioxidant protection you put on before you go out into the environment and you're facing the pollution, cigarette smoke, dust, all of the things, the sunlight. When you put your antioxidant on and then your sunscreen, they work together to protect your skin from the elements, right? So it's like a nice duo to just always do. And it doesn't matter what day of the year it is, right? It's
Yeah. You need to
summer,
protect your
great.
skin.
If
Yeah.
it's winter, great.
Yeah. So I know that you love your vitamin C, but
Mhm.
out of all of the products in your line, is there one that holds like a special place in your heart? Because there's a particular product that you told me was sold out for
Oh my gosh.
months, or
That tonic in my skincare line,
Uh-huh.
it's crazy. People love it. And it's the men, it's the women, it's the teenagers. Everyone loves it. So I have this, it's called our Superfruit Exfoliating Tonic. It's so delicious. It's got 8% glycolic acid, which is an alpha hydroxy. That's what helps to slough away the dead skin and unclog your pores. And it has licorice root extract, which is one of the ingredients that we use in dermatology often to help with dark spots. So not only are you sloughing away dead skin,
Right.
you're also bringing out brighter, fresher skin, and
Right.
your dark spots are fading. Who can't use that?
So because it has glycolic acid, would you also use this for keratosis pilaris?
Yes. So that's what I love about it's one of my favorite ingredients, by the way.
I like.
Yeah. So you can use it anywhere that you have an issue that relates to roughness. Glycolic acids can be helpful. This product is made more like a tonic, similar to a toner. So if you have dry skin, you may want to top it off with a moisturizer. So getting the active ingredient in is important, but you want to also not leave the skin feeling dry. This product is actually nice in that it doesn't dry you out, but you want to still put a little moisturizer on top. So I love glycolic acid. And so
Yeah.
that product has become a viral success the way that
Is it
they
in stock right now?
it's back.
Okay.
It was out the whole
Yes, I
summer. Oh
remember.
my gosh.
I remember.
It's I love that product.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so
That's my
how did
baby until my future bright vitamin C serum came out. Now I'm moving
it's so
on.
new, yeah.
I'm new in love,
Yeah.
you know.
So, how do you approach your own skincare routine? Are there any products or practices that you like? And obviously, the vitamin C.
Yeah.
But I was watching some of your videos, and you were like, sometimes I skip moisturizer. So I want to know, what does your routine look like?
I am so boring with my routine because I want to keep it simple and to
Mm-hmm.
the point. My morning.
Mm-hmm.
I oftentimes will not use a cleanser in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
I may just do water
Why?
because there's nothing really on my skin that needs to be scrubbed off. What I would have put on at night are treatment products, so I can just rinse those off.
Right.
So I'm not a big. You don't have to wash with a cleanser every morning, but you can.
Yeah.
I just happen to not. My second step is always my vitamin C. I know
Yeah.
I'm so boring, but my vitamin
Mm-hmm.
C serum goes on. And then if it's winter, I might need moisture, my moisturizer, and then my sunscreen.
Mm-hmm.
I do sunscreen every single day.
Right.
If it's summertime, I'm just doing, two steps really. I'm rinsing with water, and then I'm putting my vitamin C and my sunscreen product.
That is correct. You know, it's so amazing though, because we are talking to a dermatologist with decades of experience, and your routine is so simple. And here we are, like, I have a 10-step routine,
I
I have
don't have,
this, I have that. I'm like,
no,
the essence, the serum,
no, too
it's
much.
like,
Now, I do use an exfoliant, the tonic in my
Mhm.
line 2 times a week, roughly, and my skin doesn't really need a lot of unclogging.
right.
And that's what I use it for, to speed up my skin cell turnover, keep fresh skin coming to the surface.
Mhm.
So 2 times out of the week, you'll notice that after I rinse my face, the first step would be I would use the tonic just to
Mhm.
kind of unclog.
Right.
Then I put my antioxidant and my sun protection, and I'm out the door. In the evenings, I am like a rich, it's like a regimen. I walk in the door, hello, hello, hello to everyone. I go straight upstairs. I wash New York City and my
Oh my
patients and
gosh,
the
yes.
makeup and everything off right away. I don't wait till bedtime. And I put on my night treatment products.
What about eye cream?
I do eye cream.
Mhm.
I usually will do something that's treating. So
Mhm.
either it's a retinol
Mhm.
some nights because I don't want wrinkles either,
Right.
or I could put on some kind of epidermal growth factor products, to help stimulate collagen production. I do something that's
Wait,
doing
wait,
work.
wait.
What?
You're like epidural growth. What?
They're growth factor
Factor
products.
growth.
Yes.
What is this?
There are not a lot of brands around that have this ingredient, but it's a growth factor for your skin.
It's so
So
casual. So can you?
yes, so okay, so the one that I personally have been using is made by Skin Medica, which is a
Okay.
brand that's typically sold by dermatologists and
Mhm.
plastic surgeons. I think you can probably get it online.
Mhm.
And there it's super expensive, but it's really really concentrated. And you put that on,
Mhm.
and what it helps with is all of those signs of aging.
Mhm.
So lines, if you
Mhm.
have them, but if you don't have lines, it's going to help you with your collagen
Mhm.
production.
Wow.
So it's helping to reverse signs of aging, and it's really brilliant. But there are not many companies who make it. I think it's really chemically difficult to construct.
So where in your routine will that go?
I put that on right after I cleanse because it doesn't have much moisture to it, the
Mhm.
product. It's very like serumy,
Right.
gelatinous. So if I put that on alone, my skin would just feel tight and
Right.
dry. So
Mhm.
I top it off with my signature moisturizer from my skincare line. And
Mm.
I love that was my baby first because that was the
Right.
first product that I created.
Right.
I use that moisturizer every single night. And I do it on my face and I do it on my neck.
Right.
And then I do an eye cream. And the
Mm.
reason I do that moisturizer, by the way, is because it again is multifunctional. I love
And
products
it's
that
good
do
as night.
a lot of
It's good
things.
at night. So you wake up and you're like, your skin is fresh.
Dewy.
So you said that you have really sensitive skin.
Mhm.
What makeup do you like?
My foundation right now is Giorgio Armani
Mm-hmm.
because I found that, and it's been for years I've been using this, the
Mm-hmm.
Luminous
Luminous silk.
Silk.
Mm-hmm.
They have colors for me.
Yeah.
And I noticed they don't necessarily advertise to people who look like me, but they have a beautiful array of colors.
Mm-hmm.
And I love the finish.
Is there anything else that you like swear by? Because with
I
sensitive skin, you don't, you don't necessarily want to be putting on just anything,
No, and
you know?
that's what I mean. I'm not going to use any other foundation. Even when I go on set
Mm-hmm.
and there is a makeup artist, I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, okay,
Right.
I check because there are some brands that
Right.
every time I have them put on, I wake up with little fine bumps all over my face.
Wow.
Or I start getting pimples where I don't get pimples
Right.
normally. I'm not someone who breaks out typically. So I know that it's the foundation that did it.
Right.
Other things I swear by, I no, I'm very variable with lip.
Right.
I I have
What
like
about
just
mascara?
I have my eyes tear up very easily with
Mm-hmm.
mascara, so I find that many of the ones that are meant to do the extra, right? The
Right.
extra lengthening, the extra
Mm-hmm.
thickening, I'll just be tearing after I
Right.
use it. So I find little brands that don't bother me. Chanel, of course, makes
Mm-hmm.
one that I love, and I've been having a hard time finding it. I don't
Mm.
remember the exact name of it, but it's very basic.
Yeah, I think you would like Tubin mascaras.
T
Tubin.
okay, Tubin.
Yeah, so
Mm-hmm.
it's just like a type of mascara.
Okay.
So it's like meant for sensitive eyes.
Okay.
But the Tubin mascara basically creates little tubes around the lash, and then it washes off very easily with water.
That's what
So,
I've been using recently. So my friend Carmody,
uh-huh.
who is a makeup artist as
Uh-huh.
well, she has a skincare line, well,
Mm-hmm.
makeup line
Mm-hmm.
rather, and her mascara does
Yeah.
that. So you get those individual fibers on
Yeah.
the lash, and they
Anything
just
that's
rinse off.
waterproof, don't use that.
Don't
Because
use the
yeah,
waterproof.
because it's very hard to come off, and if your eyes tear up and stuff, it's not good.
That one doesn't bother me, so
Yeah.
that's good.
Okay.
Okay, thanks
We
for that little tip though.
we love to share
Tubing,
tips. Tubing mascara, yeah.
tubing. Okay.
Thrive Cosmetics has one. MAC Cosmetics has one. Extended Play. A lot of your posts have gone viral, but I love the myths and facts, and I would love for you to share anything that comes to the top of your mind, a common myth that you have heard a lot that you need to make sure that people don't believe. She's like, wow, there's so many.
You know, I don't know. This one just jumped into my head. People think that everything that you eat that's good for you to eat is good for you to put on your face. Can I leave it there for a moment? The first thing that comes to mind is how they love a coconut oil.
Uh-huh.
They love a coconut oil.
You don't like coconut oil?
I love eating coconut oil. I love even like if you're putting coconut oil on your body,
Mm-hmm. Not as a
it
makeup
is
remover.
not meant to be put on your face for many people. Now, there are people who can get away with it,
Mm-hmm.
but it is so clogging
Really?
that if you have even this much of a propensity to getting acne, you're going to start breaking out. Now, I say that based on experience. I mean, when people come to my office and they have specifically acne, like, I don't know what happened. I just started breaking out. I go through with them what they're using and I literally, check the ingredient list. And many times that's the culprit because we love it. We love coconut oil. And so
Right.
more is better, right? Put it in everything.
Right.
So that one is a big one. It's one of those myth versus fact things that I put out. No, did I? I actually, one of them that I put out about castor oil,
Uh-huh.
that castor oil does not grow your hair back. Ooh,
Really?
people were happy before I said that, and then I said that, and they were coming at me.
It doesn't?
It's because it's cultural, right? We all grew up in the Caribbean anyway.
Oh, yeah.
Castor oil, your mom puts it in your hair, it makes it look shiny, and that's all true.
Mm-hmm.
But castor oil, there is no scientific evidence. And I looked and I looked and I searched and I looked for some articles.
Have you
Because
used
I'm a
have you
doctor,
tried
I
it?
have to talk science, right?
Right.
And I just wanted people to understand that castor oil will not grow their hair back. It will make your hair shiny.
Mm-hmm.
It will make it feel nice and smooth. It may even make it curl a certain way,
Mm-hmm.
but you can't rely on it solely to be the thing that is going to grow your hair back. And that was a big myth that I wanted to dispel, but ooh, they didn't want to hear about it. I had to do a part 2 saying, okay, you guys came at me with that one, but listen, hair loss is a complex issue.
Yeah.
A lot of things, a lot of reasons why you lose your hair. Sometimes it's traction from pulling
Right.
too tight. Sometimes it's you have the condition that is inherited from years and years of wearing hairstyles that pull on the root.
Right.
Sometimes it falls out because your immune system went wiggy, you know?
Yeah.
So there are a lot of reasons. So the
Right.
first thing you want to do is find out what type of hair loss you have,
Right.
and that requires a dermatologist.
Right.
Um, and then you target treating it with the things that are known to work. If your hair is breaking,
Mm-hmm.
I'm the first one to tell you to use castor oil.
Oh,
But
because it's gonna
that's
strengthen
not
it.
alopecia.
Yeah.
Alopecia means the hair fell out.
Okay, so talking about hair
Mhm.
loss, let's talk about minoxidil.
Okay.
Because my For You page has been filled with, people saying like, hey, you have to use it for X amount of months and then the hair might mature because if you just stop using it, all the hair is going to fall out. I need some clarification because I want to start using it. And some people say the foam is better. You're gonna start growing. I've seen videos. You're gonna start growing all this hair on your face.
Mhm.
Very werewolf vibes. So please help the girls.
Yeah, this is why I say it's important to start off with a discussion about what type of hair loss you have.
Right.
Now, minoxidil works to grow hairs. It increases the blood supply to the roots.
Mm-hmm.
It makes your fine hairs become thicker and
Mm-hmm.
longer,
Mm-hmm.
as long as you don't have scarring.
Right.
Now, a lot of people have hair loss and they actually have scar tissue that's formed so that it's like the hair follicle is sealed over. So even if there's a hair bulb under there trying to
Right.
get out, it can't get out because there's a scar blocking it. Nothing is penetrating that.
Right.
Minoxidil is not necessarily going to help those people. So you can't just bulk
Right.
hair loss and say, I have hair loss.
Right.
I need minoxidil, because
Right.
not all forms of hair loss are going to respond to it.
Right.
And it's not the right treatment for several types of hair loss. But for what it's meant for, it works wonderfully. Like, so it's really meant for genetic thinning, right?
Mm-hmm.
So people who they're just getting older and they're just getting thinner in general, hairline receding, getting thinning up here. You use minoxidil long enough, you will see the hairs growing back. It's not going to happen in a month, typically like 3 months of using it. And you notice, yeah, it's actually getting thicker and
But then if
fuller.
you stop using it, your hair is gonna fall back
It's
out.
going to fall out if it was genetic hair thinning, because you're
Oh.
genetically the same person still. The minoxidil didn't change that you
Mm-hmm.
inherited this gene to have thin hair as you got older.
So what if it was because of tight hairstyles?
Then it should not fall back out.
Okay.
Right? Once it grows in, as long as you don't go back to that
Yeah,
hairstyle,
you're like, ooh.
then yeah, which
I'm
is
gonna
so
be
challenging because a
right.
lot of people will continue to wear a weave
Mm-hmm.
while they're working on growing back their hairline. And typically they put the braid up in the front, and so that's still pulling on the hairline, and they get frustrated because it feels like they're never making any progress.
Yeah.
But yeah, and so those kinds of people will not lose all their hair because they stop using minoxidil. You just use it as long as you need to get to your end point, and then you can stop.
So how do you prevent becoming like werewolfy?
Not being sloppy. So I'm always telling people, minoxidil works, first of all, right? So if you put it on your scalp
Mm-hmm.
and you let it drip down the side because you're in a big hurry and you just like,
Oh,
I got to just get it on
yeah.
and go, it is going to promote hair growth in those areas, right? So
So
you'll get
should
the
you wear it
werewolf.
during the day? Because if it's doing it in the night
Hmm.
and you
I
REM
think
sleep and you're dreaming, like maybe is
I think nights are actually better because people are going to tend to be more patient then.
mm-hmm.
In the mornings, you're in such a hurry.
Right.
If you're working, the
Mm-hmm.
typical 9 to 5, and you've
Mm-hmm.
got to get out the quick, quick,
Yeah.
quick. You have no time. The other sloppy thing people do is after they apply their minoxidil, then they get their moisturizer and then they start putting that, and they get their makeup, and nobody washed their hand. So if you don't wash it off your hands before you go to taking care of other things, you're putting minoxidil in all these places that you didn't intend to.
Yeah.
The third thing is not starting with the highest strength of minoxidil. People want more is better kind of
Mm-hmm.
mentality. They'll grab the 5% product off the shelf, which is typically what we recommend for men,
Mm-hmm.
and women can progress to that. So I'd say don't start with the highest grade first. Start with the lower percentage one, the 2%, and see if that works
See how
for
it
you,
goes. Do
and
you
then
find a difference?
build up.
Do you find a difference between the foam and the other
It's
liquid? Does it matter?
preference really.
Yeah.
The foam is like a mousse,
Mm-hmm.
so it depends on your hairstyle, right? If
Mm-hmm.
you had a thin, short hair,
Mm-hmm.
you could probably slick it on easily, and that's what the foams are meant for. The liquid is easier, I think, for, getting into little crevices if you have a lot of hair. The problem is people with hair that's straightened, chemically straightened, they complain that, the liquids make the roots wavy,
Right.
and they can't keep their straight hairstyles, but the product works.
Right.
Yeah.
So, what are some skincare breakthroughs that you're looking forward to seeing in the next few years?
The first thing that comes to mind for me is that there will be a redirecting in the product development world
Mm-hmm.
to doing testing, clinical testing on skin that is melanin rich. They do not test on melanated skin. It's just not done. So many of the products that we're seeing, even the ones marketed to us
Mm-hmm.
in the stores, are not being tested on us. So I think we're shouting enough about it right now. Industry is going to take notes. I'm trying to do it on my little skincare line,
Mm-hmm.
making sure that not only are we testing on skin that is white, but skin that is melanin rich, because it's more likely they're going to react to stuff that others who don't have melanin, as much melanin in their skin, won't react to.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm hoping that that would be a trend.
Right.
I'm sure they're going to pick up because people are really talking about it. The other thing is, I would love to see I think there's going to be a trend moving towards true experts
Mm-hmm.
for developing skincare products,
We
because
need that.
that other direction where it's like just because you're famous
Mm-hmm.
or you're an actress or you're a model, suddenly you are an expert in creating a skincare line.
Yeah.
And that became a thing quite during the pandemic, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone's putting out a line. So I think there's been a shift already starting where I'm seeing more dermatologists, plastic surgeons, even estheticians, if
Right.
they're experienced enough, creating lines. And so things are going to be more science based, I hope, and proven, not just a fad like,
Yeah.
oh, that sounds like it makes sense.
Right.
Let me put that in there.
Yeah. Well,
And
I think a lot of those like brands have popped up, but the way that the market responds shows how we really feel about it. It can be popular on social media, but then it doesn't sell. It doesn't really thrive.
yeah,
The customer is more savvy now. People know, they know. And then
they're
they
already
have
there.
you to watch, so they know. Okay, so what advice would you give to young people of color entering the field of dermatology? Any advice?
You mean the advice I never got, right?
Yeah, basically.
A lot of the interns and the residents have talked to me, the ones of color, and I first tell them, you guys are so lucky.
Mm-hmm.
You have us. You have people like me that you can reach out to and ask questions about direction, like, where do I go from here? Is this really realistic? Can I actually become you?
Right.
What were your challenges? Like the
Mm-hmm.
same stuff you asked me
Yeah.
earlier. So I tell them, utilize your mentors,
Mm-hmm.
find mentors because they now exist. Uh, it's really hard. We can't help that part. You're gonna work really hard to get to that end point, but it is doable. I did it.
Mm-hmm.
I was a long shot,
Mm-hmm.
but I persevered and I had vision.
Mm-hmm.
I never gave up, and I built this beautiful. My practice is beautiful,
Yeah.
and now a skincare line. Like
Yeah.
I don't even think
It's
about the
possible.
impossible. I
Yes.
just try. I just think it through well, and then I execute, and then the rest is God.
I love that.
Yeah.
So I do want to ask you really quick about lasers
Mhm.
and which ones you think that are a yes and which ones you think are a no. Because
I did a
for
thing
me,
on that. Did you see
yes,
it?
I did. Because I am very picky. Like I did laser hair removal, which is like something different. I guess it's not
No,
different because
it's not different.
they use a specific laser.
Yeah,
But I'm very picky who I go to. Like
and you should
my
be.
first person, she's a Black woman. She's no longer at the place that I went to, Erase Spa here in New York. But I had another girl, and I'm like, she recommended me. So I'm like, I'm only going by recommendation. Like I'm not playing those games because again, with black skin, as we know, it's susceptible to not, if the
Not
person doesn't
everything.
know what they're doing, then it could be very bad. So I definitely want you to touch on,
Yeah.
what you think about lasers and which ones are a yeah and a nay.
Yeah. I I came into dermatology at a time when we didn't have lasers that were okay to use on darker skin. And the first one that I got my hands on was probably like in 2002 or 2003 was the laser for razor bumps. The minute it became available, I got it because all the black men and all the women with facial hair who were crying in my office and I couldn't help them. I'm like, all I know is electrolysis. You can go do that. So it was important for us to wait to till the technology caught up with um, the way our skin reacts. And we now have technology, but now that we have technology, you now have to do your research before you run out and have just any old Joe Schmo do your
Right.
laser treatment.
Right.
You need to investigate about the type of machine. Is this machine tested and approved for use on skin of my color?
Right.
What is your experience level? Do you treat many people who look like me? And it's better, as you said, to go by referral, right?
Yes.
Somebody else went to this place.
Yes.
They got good care. They didn't get burned. They didn't have white spots on their skin that were permanent because they got the wrong laser
Right.
used on them. So it's important to do your research. But the good thing is that we now have so many more lasers that, we have to know how to set them so you don't cause harm, but many more options available now than before.
Thank
Yeah.
goodness.
Man, that was a life changer. When I got that laser, people were like bang, bang, bang on the door.
Right.
Get me in there.
What do you do laser at your
Oh, yeah.
what's the
We
most
have a lot of
popular one?
lasers.
What's the most popular one that you do?
My most popular at this point is it's a neodymium YAG laser called Aerolase. Aerolase is like, I think that's just going to take over the entire skin of color
Right.
uh, area of treating with lasers because it treats not only hair, so I can use it to get rid of darker hairs. You can't get rid of gray hairs with a
Right.
laser. I can use it for hyperpigmentation.
Wow.
And there's no downtime. It doesn't even hurt. I can use it for acne. And all of this safely on skin as dark as mine. I had a treatment a couple of weeks ago because no one can see it, but I see it. I have these couple of dark patches on my face that I wanted to just see how well it was going to work on me. Zero downtime, zero pain. You just have to do multiple sessions.
Right.
So that's the most popular laser in my office right now, but I have a lot of
So
machines.
many.
Yeah.
So your heritage and upbringing definitely has played a significant role in your skincare line.
Yes, it has.
Now, I would love to know, like, you're a Jamaican woman, you're living in New York. What do you do at home? Or how do you carry on your traditions? Do you like to cook? Like, do you go home often?
I am so in love with my island. It is where I go to decompress and to find my center again.
Yeah.
When I'm in the US, it's easy for me to just go up to the country because I have a little cottage up in the Hudson Valley. But it doesn't feed my soul the way going home to Jamaica does. And
Yeah.
it starts from the minute I land.
Yeah.
I get off that plane, and the minute I feel the air and the environment and I see the people, I hear the language again. You feel this, you
Yeah.
exhale.
I've never been.
Oh,
I'm playing around.
you're messing around,
Yeah.
girl.
I
There's
just want
something
some
about
jerk
that
chicken
place.
from like the side of the road in a charcoal. What is it called
For the pan
the
chicken.
barrel? You know what
The
it's
drum,
called?
we
The
just
drum,
the
yeah,
drum.
drum, yeah. I'm like, that's what I want my jerk chicken.
Yeah.
I need the chicken to be like black.
Yeah.
Because if it's not black, then it's not jerk chicken.
Cuisine is a big part of our
Yes.
culture and the part that makes it fun.
Yes.
And people really enjoy their lives there. That, I had to incorporate some of those ingredients in my skincare line. I have sugarcane extract.
Yes.
I have the new vitamin C has papaya extract and sour sop extract. And I'm just taking advantage of all the antioxidants and the
Yeah.
goodness that I eat that
Yeah.
actually happens to be good for the skin too.
Yeah.
And I'm creating a new thing that's going to have sea moss
Ooh,
in it.
2025?
Yes. I'm almost done. It's
Okay.
going to be launching in first part of the year. But I incorporate those things because they are things that I eat and enjoy, but I also happen to know scientifically that they have
Yeah.
benefits on the skin.
Yeah.
So I roll into it that way. But in terms of traditions at home, every Sunday in my house, we absolutely cook Jamaican, mostly because my mother, who lives in my home,
Right.
cooks Sunday dinner.
Oh, that's
And
nice.
so my children grew up every Sunday is rice and peas
Yeah.
and brown stew chicken
Uh-huh.
or steamed fish or, you know, stew peas and rice.
Right.
Like
Yes.
she just ackee and saltfish.
Yeah.
She cooks all of the traditional things. So my children grew up knowing about Jamaican cuisine. And at Christmas we do the things, we do the black cake, we do the sorrel, we do, all the things that are
Do you
traditional and
guys do
reflective of
pone?
home.
Do you know what pone is?
Isn't that the potato pudding
No, it's not
we
a
call
potato pudding. It's kind of like it's you make it. It's like a banana bread almost, but it's I guess it's a Trini. Maybe it's a Trini thing.
in Jamaica?
We have something called
Unless I'm
pone.
mistaken, we call pone. It's cornmeal and
It's like
potato.
a cake.
It's a cake, but it's
Yeah.
soft like a little
Yeah,
pudding.
soft. Yeah.
Yeah,
Maybe it's the same thing.
yeah, they call it.
Well,
What's in yours?
I have no idea. I never made
I've never made it either. I'm much
like
better.
I don't
I'm
know if I
much
want
better
to.
at cooking than I am
Yeah.
at baking. I'm not very good at baking
Yeah.
at all.
Mm-mm. Well, I asked you that because you're doing all of these things. Obviously, having a line, a new line. You're at Sephora now.
Yes.
It's not easy at all. So that's why I'm like, you have to have something else keeping you grounded. Whether it's
Yes.
family, traditions. So that's why I wanted to ask her because I know you have a lot on your plate right now and
Yes, I
you're
do.
killing it.
I'm trying to kill it. Oh my God. I'm surrounded by a lot of support and love.
Mhm.
My mother has been my biggest supporter for my entire life,
Yeah.
right? And the fact that she lives at home, I get a little bit of that
Yeah.
every day, pushing me up. And
Right.
she sees me on TV. She couldn't be any happier.
Oh,
She sees my name in print in a magazine or something. Oh my God, my daughter. It's just
that's so nice.
so I get to hear that and
Yeah.
get the reinforcement
Very
there.
important. Yeah.
And my sons are just watching, and you can just see it in their eyes. They're just proud and
Inspired.
yeah.
Thank
That's
you
just
so
what I
much for
think.
making time. I
This
really appreciate it.
this was my pleasure.
Okay,
Get to
so
chat.
please tell our listeners how to find you and all your on the platforms and all the things.
So on Instagram, Rose MD Skin, that's for connecting through my skincare line, or on Ingleton Dermatology, Ingleton Dermatology. We're on TikTok on Ingleton Dermatology. And our website is rosemdskin.com, and you can find out everything you want to know about the skincare line there. All the awards we've gotten and all the reviews.
And all the things we talked about in today's episode, and we will make sure to leave all of that also in the show notes. I just want to thank you for stopping by. Thank you guys so much for listening. Don't forget you can find us on TikTok and Instagram at The Life of a Makeup Artist. And if you want to see our beautiful faces, you can see the full visual episodes on YouTube at The Life of a Makeup Artist or at Jaleesa Jaikaran. Thank you guys so much for listening, and I'll catch you in the next episode. Thank you.